This is Brian Adam of the Awesome Sauce Comics podcast. I'm here with a comic book writing legend, with David. I believe the way it's pronounced is it michelinie?
It's michelinie.
Michelinie, alright. You can blame my specialized software for messing it up.
Oh, everybody gets it wrong.
What was it? How did you get your start writing comics?
Well, I loved reading when I was a kid. Loved comics. And way back in the early 1970s, DC Comics had what they called an apprenticeship program, where they would bring people in and they could work in the office while they learned the craft. And I submitted some samples of my writing work to them, but it went to the wrong place. It actually went to an editor, to Joe Orlando's office, and ended up on his slush pile, which is unsolicited manuscripts. And Joe's assistant editor,
Viewfinder
at the time,
image.
came in after lunch one day, had nothing
Double tap to
planned,
focus.
So I picked up the top script
Double
off
tap
the
and hold to
slush
adjust
pile, read it
exposure.
with mine, and he sent me a letter saying I showed some potential, but that they couldn't work with anyone outside of the New York area. I was living in Kentucky at the time. So 2 weeks later, I moved to New York, and I knocked on the door and said, "Okay, here I am."
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had to give me a chance. They did. I passed muster, so here I am.
Yep. You had one of the most amazing Iron Man runs of all time.
Oh, thank you.
My favorite work of yours is a tie between your Spider-Man work with MacFarline and the initial Iron Man run you did up to the Doctor Doom story for me.
Yeah, they're a couple of favorites of mine, too.
So how did you get the gig writing Iron Man?
Well, I had been working for DC for 5 years, and I had some problems, and I called Jim Shooter. I met Jim Shooter, who was editor-in-chief at Marvel at the time. I had met him at a dinner, I think. So I called Jim up, and I said, "Hey, can I get some work from Marvel?" And he said, "Would today be too soon?" So I was very flattered, and I went over to Marvel and took over the Avengers for Jim. And at the time, Bob Layton and I had become friends at DC. We had done some work together. And
I didn't know that.
oh yeah, he inked a sword and sorcery comic that I did called Claw the Unconquered, and he did some work, I think, and inked some on Star Hunters, a science fiction series I did. So we become friends. So Iron Man was available, and Bob was a long-time Iron Man fan, loved it, read every Iron Man story ever. And I had never read Iron Man, not a single story. So he was offered the inking, I was offered the writing, and since we had worked together and I knew he was a very good idea man and he knew all about the characters, we decided to collaborate on the plots. He knew everything that had been done before, but I had an open mind. I didn't know what had come before, so I could come up with fresh ideas and he could tell me if they had been done before. So it turned out to be a very good collaboration. We did that for 40 or 50 issues, I think, first run.
Yeah, it was like 117. If I read the information correctly, just because I was doing some research this morning.
I'm thinking 116 was the first, but I happen to have my handy dandy computer here, so.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, it was from 116 to about 150 for your first run.
Yeah, it went a little beyond 150. I think that's. I'll look it up here myself, because that was the Iron.
The 150. Yeah, that's the Doctor Doom story.
Yeah, so it's a good place to stop. But actually, I did up through 157. Well, I did through 156. Bob did through 153. I did through 156, and then there was an inventory issue that had been plotted by someone else that I scripted that was in 157. And that was the end of that first run.
That's cool. And how did you guys come up with the decision to make Tony Stark an alcoholic in the infamous A Demon in the Bottle story?
that was my initial idea. Because, like I say, I hadn't read Iron Man before then. But I read when I was assigned the book. I went and I read the last half dozen issues before what was to be my first one, and Tony Stark's like, I mean, he was prize battle, a hostile takeover of his company. The government was trying to regulate the Avengers. His social life was in the toilet. I figured, a real person would have, under that stress, would try to find some escape from it. And, and it had been established that Tony was a party kind of guy and social drinker. I figured he might just start going a little more to the alcohol to try to escape the stress of both his civilian business life and his superhero life. That was the nugget of the idea. I talked over with Bob. He liked it. We talked over some stories, ideas. We went to Jim Shooter because we were told, oh, I'll never let you do that. So we went to Jim Shooter, told him what we had in mind, and Jim just said, do it well. That was the only criteria. So I props to Jim for letting us take a shot at it. That's how that storyline came about.
Yeah, that's great. That's such a classic story. I mean, there's even a lot of plays off of it even in the movies today now.
That's true. That's true.
You also created Rhodey, Jim Rhodes. What was the development behind that?
Well, it was a co-creation. Pretty much everything in Iron Man was a co-creation between Bob and I since we were collaborating on the plots.
Mm-hmm.
But we really just, we looked at it and said, okay, what would a real-life situation require? And one of the things that a CEO and big-time businessman would need would be a private plane, and that would require a pilot, because he couldn't just zoom around his Iron Man to business meetings.
Yeah.
So that was the original idea behind Rhodey, the need that caused us to create Rhodey. We created Rhodey as basically, we also realized Tony needed a friend. All he knew was, people in business and superheroes. His only friends really were the Avengers. We figured this guy is a real guy. If Tony Stark was real, he needed a buddy, someone to hang out with, someone to talk to, someone to advise him on the real world stuff, to listen to him. And that's what Rhodey was intended to be. Of course, we gave him a background in special forces and stuff, so he could fight, with guns and fists, and stand side by side or back to back with Tony. That's what it was when we were plotting the stories and when I was writing them.
That's amazing. Now I just can't imagine the two of them not being friends in comics.
Yeah, well, that's where they're supposed to be, and it seemed to work, so we stayed with it.
Yeah. You also came back to Iron Man in the mid-'80s with the Armor Wars storyline.
Right.
What was the background behind wanting to create this huge Armor Wars with all the armored heroes and villains within the Marvel Universe?
Well, that was actually Jim Shooter's nugget of an idea. He posed it over dinner in New York one time that, what if someone had stolen Tony's technology and were using it for other stuff? What would he do? And this keyed us, Bob and I, into the idea that this would haunt him. That he's when we were writing him, he was a noble character. He was a flawed character, but at his core, he was a noble man who wanted to do good. And to see that what he had created to do good and make life better was actually creating damage and misery would probably make him psychologically focused, obsessed with getting this back and stopping this. And that's what we tried to portray, and it also gave us opportunity to guest star a whole bunch of armored good guys and bad guys. So
You also got in that story had an amazing fight between him and Captain America.
Yeah, against the Captain. He wasn't Captain America at that time.
That's right.
So against Steve Rogers, but that was fun. It was fun because it was like, it showed how deeply this obsession went, that he would actually have to battle one of his truly good superhero friends and fellow Avengers to try to, make things right. So it was kind of an important part of the saga.
actually, the Armor Wars are probably the first Iron Man books I picked up as a kid.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, I just started reading comics. I started around the time of Secret Wars 2. And Iron Man was in Secret Wars 2, so I said, let me check out what's going on in his book. And it was around that time period, I was like, this is cool.
Wow, good for us.
You know, but my two favorite characters in the world are Spider-Man and Daredevil, and your Spider-Man work is number one on my top 5 runs of all time.
I'm flattered. Thank you very much.
Now, what I know that I've heard this elsewhere, was Venom really supposed to be a female at first?
Yeah, I had started when I was writing Web of Spider-Man. Whenever I write a character, I try to focus on the unique elements of that character, and that usually leads to the stories that are specific to a character that probably couldn't be done with other characters if you use their unique elements. And one thing that Spider-Man had that, at least at the time, no one had was his spider sense. So I focused on that and I figured, okay, well, what if he's so used to it? It's just like a reflex, and he moves when the spider sense tells him to move. And I figured, it saves his life so many times. What would happen if there was a villain who didn't trigger that spider sense? So that was the core for Venom, and I started setting it up in 2 issues of Web before I moved to Amazing.
Take picture. Stop recording video.
A
Button.
pregnant woman was about to give birth, and her husband was trying to get her to the hospital, and he ran out to flag a taxi cab to get her to the hospital, and at the time it was going to tie it into a graphic novel called Revenge of the Living Monoliths, which Spider-Man was fighting this giant pharaoh over New York City, and I was going to have the cab driver looking out at this battle up in the sky, and he hits the husband, kills the husband. The woman is traumatized by this. Her child is stillborn, and she goes into a catatonic state from the trauma. And then eventually, when she comes out of it, she blames Spider-Man for the death of her husband and her child. And Venom symbiote, which had been rejected by Spider-Man, and has hated him for that rejection, melted with her hatred of him, and together they went out to try to kill Spider-Man. And it had been established that the alien symbiote that became the Venom costume did not trigger the spider suit. So that was the initial origin of what the character became Venom. But when I was switched over to Amazing from Web, editor Jim Salicrup wanted something new for issue 300. I suggested the character I had been developing, and he liked it, but he wanted it to be a male. He didn't know if the readers could accept a female villain standing toe-to-toe against Spider-Man, which is, of course, a lot of that's changed now, but that was the feeling, so I changed the origin, came up with Eddie Brock, and that became Venom.
Yeah, history. So, since everything you do is a collaboration, how much of, Venom was you, as far as when it came to Eddie Brock, and how much of it was Todd?
All of the character was me. Like I say, I had already created the character and started setting it up in Web before even I was assigned to Amazing Spider-Man, which was before Todd was assigned to it. So the plot, which introduced for 300, was actually written and approved before Todd was assigned to the book. So it depends on your definition of created. I consider the fact that you take a blank page and make something out of it. That's creation. So I consider that I created Venom. Todd visualized Venom from my description and the plot. They did a wonderful job of it. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Todd at all. He's terrific. I love working with him. I would not take anything away from him, and I'm sure the sales wouldn't have been as high as they were with another artist. He's terrific. But the character was already established, motivation, characterization, identity, everything, before I was even assigned to Amazing and before Todd was assigned to draw it.
That's interesting. So, what was it like working with Todd during that time period, especially when, you know, you had the boom of the market and the adjective Spider-Man, you know, spun out of it and all that.
Yeah. No, like I say, I have nothing but positive things to say about working with Todd. We didn't really work close together. I did my plots for Jim Salicrup, the editor. They were sent to Todd. Todd drew the pencils. They were sent to me. I added the dialogue and the sound effects and the captions. There was the letterer and then any colorist. So we really weren't in much contact. I asked at one. I thought, well, first off, Todd was a terrific storyteller, an exciting visualist, and he was also thoroughly professional. I asked Jim Salicrup to see if there's anything Todd wanted to draw, because, you know, when an artist is enjoying his or her work, they tend to do better work and it makes the book better. But he was reluctant to be involved in the stories, because I was told from Jim Salicrup he was reluctant to be involved in the stories because he had just started on it. Now he'd been writing Spider-Man stories for, you know, a year or two now. And I thought that was very unegotistic. A lot of artists come in and they'd say, well, we're going to do it this way, and, you know, I think this should be done. He held back from that. I thought that was not very professional of him. But he's finally said, well, told Jim Salicrup he'd like to draw a character with a cape. And if you look at Spider-Man, there aren't that many Spider-Man characters with capes.
No, there are not.
I did a Prowler story, because Prowler had a cape. And of course, Todd drew it great. He drew everything great. But that was my experience. Very positive working with Todd. I enjoyed it a lot.
That's awesome. That like I said, that, you know, actually, when I started really reading Spider-Man, as opposed to just buying Spider-Man, right around the time of the wedding, and I just really got hooked from the wedding. And from our understanding, you had the privilege of being a part of two of the biggest superhero weddings of all time, Spider-Man's and Superman's.
Yes, I have a friend who started calling me the preacher because I kept marrying off superheroes. But, yeah, I did a plot for Amazing Spider-Man, the wedding, and unfortunately, I talked over Jim Shooter, and he said he thought he liked it. I tried to do something different, and he said he liked it and understood what I was trying to do, but since that issue was going to get a lot more readers, civilians who didn't read comics a lot, he wanted to do something that's more standard, more establishing of the character, so I turned the plot over to him. He did a plot, and I wrote the script for it. As far as the Superman wedding, that happened shortly after
Software
I
update.
God damn it!
And my part of it, I was given a...
Hang on, motherfucker!
iOS install later. Button. Later alert. Software iOS 9.
Fucking
3,
cocksucker!
2, install to remind me install tonight. Remind me later. Button. Remind me stop recording video. Button.
Fucking iPhone. Fucking.
There's 11 or 12 something like pages that have been drawn by Curt Swan, the guy who drew Superman when I was a little kid.
Oh wow, that was the Curt. It's been a couple years since I read it. That was the Curt Swan
Image.
part of the story.
Absolutely.
Double tap to focus.
It was posthumous.
Double
Like
tap
11
and
or 12
hold to
pages
adjust
of stories that
exposure.
were finished before Curt died, and I was tasked with making it fit into a certain part of the story. So I did that, and it was interesting and challenging. But the idea of writing dialogue to Curt Swan's Superman pages was just, I mean, you know, that was amazing. It was terrific. I was very honored and lucky to do that.
Wow, that's amazing. Even just hearing you describe the thrill that you had, you know, writing as Curt Swan piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was something.
Like I said, I recently almost had the opportunity to buy a page of Curt Swan original art, and just holding it in my hand was, you know, wow, this is a real part of comic book history.
Yeah, it connects you right back to that era.
Yeah.
One of the most fun, I think.
definitely. So, we all know this, so how much did what Stan was doing in the Daily Strip influence the Peter Parker Mary Jane wedding?
Well, that was the reason they got married. It happened when I first started, switched from web to amazing. That was one of the first things I had to do. But Stanley had decided to marry Peter and Mary Jane off in the Daily Comic strip. So it was decided by Marvel, well, we'll do it too, by the editors and the execs that will do that in the comics too. So if Stan had done it in the Daily Strip, it would never have been done in the well, I can't say never. It wouldn't have been done at that time. So that was actually the total catalyst for Peter Parker getting married to Mary Jane in the comics.
Wow. I also remember the game at Shea Stadium where they did with the most cheesiest actors of all, just doing the wedding right before the game.
Oh yeah. Talk about publicity.
Yeah, it worked.
Oh yeah.
It made me actually watch a Mets game.
Not the whole thing.
The first couple innings, I think I was actually at that was the first baseball game I ever attended.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. I didn't know. I thought you were watching it on TV or something. But yeah, no, that's great. Wow.
No, I recently, unfortunately, I wish I could do it through a 13-year-old's eyes, but I recently rewatched it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, okay, the comic book was a little bit better than this.
Hey, who won the game?
I actually forget.
Well, that was a while ago.
Yeah, I remember the Spider-Man winning. I do not remember who won the game.
Well, let's just say Peter Parker won.
No, definitely. So we all know what happened to the marriage 20-some-odd years, later, through the recent editorial over with Joe Quesada. What is your stance on Peter being married versus Peter being single?
Well, I never wanted to get him married. I wanted to write the Spider-Man that I read when I was growing up. And he was a young guy, a student. I was a young guy and a student. And I could identify with that. I didn't want him to get married because I'd never been married, so I didn't know how to handle a marriage. But I didn't have a choice. But I'm going to do that at Marvel, and I had my choice. The choice was either write the married character or drop Spider-Man. So I wrote the married character. So I thought I would try to do something unusual and actually make the marriage work. Because usually have fighting and they break up and they get divorced and all that stuff. So I tried to let's get Peter Parker a little something good in his life. He has so much magic. So I worked very hard to make the wedding work, the marriage work. And of course down the line, I don't know, I forget, I think he's been separated, divorced, married. I don't know what the deal is these days. But of course they got rid of it, and I figured someone would. But once you leave a character, you have no control over it. So
yep.
I stand by my stories. I like them. I thought it worked. But other writers, editors want, okay, that's their job, and their desires.
Yep. That's true, and it really worked. So after a lengthy stint at Marvel, you go to DC and write Action Comics. Right after the death/rebirth, engagement almost marriage to Lois. How was that?
Well, I had finally quit Marvel because I was just, there were problems, and went to DC and Mike Carlin offered me Action Comics. I was supposed to actually work for Valiant full time. I forget the guy's Mazarsky, I think it was. Steve Mazarsky there had offered me a contract with, regular work for them, and so I quit Spider-Man and quit Marvel. I kept waiting for that contract to
interesting time to be a Superman reader at that point too.
Oh, I hope so.
It was, because it was right after the death, it was right after the rebirth, and they just did the whole Lex Luthor clone storyline right up where they destroyed Metropolis.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then right after that, it was the wedding. So it was fun time. And after that, they had the whole, you know, Clark Kent stopped being Superman stopped being Clark Kent story in there somewhere too. It was fun. It was fun times.
Yeah. Like I say, it was interesting working. Well, we would get together once a year, all of the writers and artists, for a Superman meeting.
What were those like?
Well, I was in 3 of them, and the first time it was taking place at a retreat in upstate New York, which was kind of a nice lodge kind of place with facilities and a restaurant and everything. It was very nice, and budgets were cut. So the next 2 times it was at DC's headquarters in New York. But it was a lot of fun because you'd sit around, and McFarline as the editor initially, and then not Mike McAvenny. I'm embarrassed. I can't remember the second editor. I had 3 editors in 3 years. And then Joey Cavalieri would sit up there with a chart, and we would chart out the next year's worth of stories and who would do what. So it was very interesting, kind of throwing ideas and suggestions and questions around, kind of a team effort, which is unusual, but it was a different and interesting experience.
That's very fascinating. Thank you, because I was always wondering what it was like to actually, because I read about them and I heard about them for years, but I was always curious.
Yeah.
So you did some freelance work for Valiant, and then you started your own company?
Well, I was, Bob Layton was living in Florida at the time. He had left Valiant, and we had done a character called The Sorcerer, and we had brought, it was supposed to be for an independent publisher in Michigan, and that fell through for various reasons. We took it to Marvel, and they were going to publish it as a graphic novel, but we need to edit pages. But between all of that, the time went on, and Bob started working for Valiant. So when he was living in Florida, he said, well, why don't we try to, redo The Sorcerer, do it as a one-shot or 2 issues, and publish it on our own and sell it over the internet. I said, oh, okay. So we did some rewriting, he did some redrawing. And then he went to MegaCon in Orlando and started telling people about this, and he got such a positive response that he came back from the convention. Instead of doing a one-shot or 2 issues, we're going to do 4 monthly comics. So he and Giordano, who was living in Florida at the time, and me, who was living on the Northeast Coast, formed Future Comics. The purpose being to own the characters, do what we wanted without, interference from publishers or executives and telling us what to do, and we would sell them on the internet. So that's what we started. They did the editorials down in Florida, and I did the writing up in where I live, upstate, up north. And we put out, I think we had about 2 dozen comics out for the financial reality of the situation kind of squashed us. So, but that was exciting. It was a lot of fun. Having the freedom. We had some really great artists, of course Bob and Dick, and then Ron Lim, and then Bob Hall, and Brett Brady, and a number of people. Pat Broderick towards the end there. So,
like I said, I'm gonna have to seek this stuff out, because that came out during a time period where I took a sabbatical to take care of my grandmother, who, God rest her soul, passed away a few years ago. So I took a few years off from the industry, from doing anything in the industry, and I've just been back for the last 2 years now.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely seek that stuff out, because it sounds fascinating, and if it's you and Bob, you really can't go wrong.
Well, thank you. If we ever need a publicist, we'll contact you.
Thanks. Like I told you in the email, I suffer from a degenerative eye condition. It's gotten worse in the last 2 years, and no harm, no foul. I mean, one of my goals is just to make the comic book industry more accessible to people with severe visual impairments who are going blind from conditions who may have to may have to have that fear of one day not being able to physically enjoy the thing they love the most within the industry.
Yeah.
This is part of the blessing. That's why I started the podcast, do this in a different way. So I thank you for the interview.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate your interest.
Yeah. Any future projects you wanna plug or?
Not a whole lot of comics. I actually just today it seems I might be doing a short story for an independent writer, artist, publisher for one of his characters, but I don't really want to give details.
That's fine, fair enough.
Things fall apart. I'd rather wait till everything's...
Yeah. Remember, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed.
Well, I've signed contracts with a publisher in Mexico City for a graphic novel that I did with a Spanish artist. And they're initially going to put it on a website called geekflix.com.
Oh, nice.
Beg pardon?
That's awesome.
But yeah, they're transitioning into paper print, so we hope to have a physical copy out later in the year. Because right now it's on that, it's going to be on geekflix.com, which is a Spanish. So people who don't speak Spanish might have trouble getting on it because the instructions are on Spanish. You have to get a subscription or pay a fee. But the graphic novel itself has no dialogue. So if anyone goes on, they get on, they can understand the whole story. Because we did it without dialogue. There's a couple of scene-setting captions and some signs in French. It starts out in France in the 1700s.
Oh, wow.
It's called the Le Noir saga. It's kind of about an astronomer, an amateur astronomer who finds what he thinks is a meteor, but it actually happens to have an alien virus, basically, that he contracts. Whenever he's hit with moonlight, he becomes something else. But anyway.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to have someone help me check that out.
Like I say, I hope we'll have a physical copy printed, and hopefully by the end of the year, and hopefully it'll be available for everyone who can't speak Spanish.
That's great. I have a lot of Spanish-speaking friends, so I'll have to take advantage. One of the head chefs at the pizzeria I used to co-own, he speaks fluent Spanish, so I'll have to give him a call.
Okay.
I taught him how to speak English, so we remain the best of friends.
Terrific.
Yep. And my last and final question is, what do you think of the industry? It's a two-parter. What do you think of the industry today, and where do you see the industry going?
I'm not a part of the industry today. I don't know. I just, like I say, the last mainstream comics I read was in 2011. It came out, an Iron Man miniseries came out in 2013. I've been treated so unprofessionally by most of the big companies that, it's even recently, but I won't name any names, but it's the word professionalism seems to be lost, at least the way I've been treated, and I know a lot of other people, particularly of my generation, who've been treated very badly by publishers, both in comics and in, prose. So, and I look and I see every 2 or 3 years, everyone being years. I mean, I spent 15 years at Marvel writing stories, and this last story I wrote had the same characters as in the first story I wrote. We didn't have to make change to sell comics. We took the characters and thought, okay, what are some new stories that are good that people like can do with these characters? There are so many aspects of these amazing characters that if you can't think of good stories, that's your fault. It's not the fault of the characters. It's your writers, your editors, and your publishers. And like every 2 or 3 years, everything changes to try to sell more comics because fewer people are buying comics.
And it seems like nothing works because it seems like they try the same stunt every 2 or 3 years.
Because people are tired of it. They're tired of having to re-gear and read, and all of a sudden, what they read before is the fact they have to start all over. they're losing readers because of what they're doing to try to gain readers. That's my opinion. But as far as where it's going, who the hell knows? I don't know.
Actually, I'm going to say thank you for that. That's the most honest answer I've gotten to that question in a year of doing this podcast. And, that's how I feel of it in every aspect, from publishing all the way down to retail. Who knows where we're going right now?
Yeah, I love comics, but I can't read them.
Like I said, I still find things I enjoy about them, but some it's kind of hard on some levels to, certain characters I have not read in a while, and it's just because it's just like, either because of time or because of just it's been done before. It's been done better.
Yeah.
And with that, I want to once again thank you for your body of work. Thank you for, like I said in the initial message I sent you with the convention invite. Thank you for taking a young, visually impaired person and teaching them that you don't need sight to have vision. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
You have a great day. I'll send you a copy of this when I have it up on the website.
Great. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you, David.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take picture. Stop recording video. Button.